Just a few words about myself. My name is Mikita Kot. I am Managing Director of Cogniteq. We are one of the leading mobile app development agencies in Central Europe, and I've been in IT for the past 15 years. Cogniteq, we've been running on the market for over a decade now. We provide primarily mobile solutions development services, but also web development. We service enterprises, startups, and small and medium-sized businesses. We've gained considerable experience across different business domains and accomplished overall around 300 e-learning, IoT, social networking, banking, sports, and healthcare products for companies, for clients all over the globe. We've prepared these slides to talk about mobile applications. Given our experience in the whole mobile development process and the impact the mobilization has on business, I'm going to talk about generally mobile apps in the business context, cases when businesses need apps and when they actually don't. I'll outline a few alternatives to developing proprietary mobile applications, and also carry on with the tips how to succeed in developing successful mobile application. So a few introductory words. So we are living now in a mobile age. Almost every third business is currently thinking about developing its own mobile solution. And this is not a surprise. As of May 2022, more than 58% of all web traffic came through mobile devices. Research conducted by Google shows that around 20% of people are likely to buy service on mobile rather than on conventional means. And especially this concerns more complex purchases. And business start looking toward mobile developments. Unfortunately, sometimes the development of a mobile application can give nothing but a waste of time and money. Therefore, first, we will consider when this can happen and when it's better to postpone app developments. I'll outline a few cases when you probably shouldn't go into developing your own mobile application. First, it's lack of resources. If you don't have enough resources, I'm not talking just about money, but also time, you shouldn't direct your efforts towards developing a mobile application. Mobile app has lots of twists and turns that may push back release dates and increase development cost. And lack of investments, both monetary and time, can do even more harm than good. It can also alter your public image of the company. You should probably go for out-of-the-box solutions that can fully replace their functionality for your business, if this is possible, whenever this is possible. I'll give two examples. For instance, you're running a barbershop and you want to create an app that allow your clients to book appointments. In this case, it's better to use something like Booksy app or any other scheduling application without investing time and money into a full-fledged mobile development. But let's say you're running a healthcare center where, in addition to booking appointments, patients can see their medical history, they can store their documents, read clinic updates, or have online consultations. In that case, an amount of customized functionality tailored specifically to your business is so great that no out-of-the-box solution can meet your business demands. When you're not investing in app marketing, this could be a waste of your efforts to develop an app. Aside from cost of development process, you will eventually need to promote your app to get more exposure. So this requires certain investments. If you choose to save on marketing, your application can eventually end up in the trash. So when you're estimating efforts and costs to develop a mobile application, you should consult some marketing agencies about the budget for promotion and possible outcomes. When the mobile application does not provide added value to your users, you should probably skip it. Building an app shouldn't be an objective itself. Your app must move in par with your business goals while enhancing user experience and providing value to the people downloading it. The app should be integrated with other services and products and become an integral part of your ecosystem. You should have clear metrics about return on investments in app development. Mobile app development could be a very, very costly process. Even at the stage of developing the app requirements, you should have a clear vision of how mobile application will bring you additional revenue. This may be through additional purchases, subscriptions, referral programs to attract new users, or even with the help of third-party ads in your application. So you should have a clear plan for when the application is going to pay off. Let's consider alternatives to having a proprietary app. If your company falls under one of these previously mentioned categories, then you probably don't need an app, at least for now. But there are a few options you can choose from. The most simple one is the adaptive website. Works well. An adaptive website, of course, cannot be a complete mobile alternative, but can meet your business goals. Users will be limited in support of native device features, but still can have ability to engage with your business from any type of mobile device. Progressive web application, or PWA, this combines advantages of native apps and can have accessibility of the website. PWA can be installed directly from the browser. Users don't see typical installation process. They just click on the dedicated button in the browser or on the web page, and the shortcut is created on the home screen of the mobile phone. Basically, you can turn almost any website into a progressive app, and the fact of the App Store independence, or let's say Google Play independence, makes this option attractive for many companies. PWA has very few limitations compared to native or mobile apps, but still offers such important features as push notifications, offline supports, and more. So now let's turn our attention when there's also a case of out-of-the-box solution. This might serve well as well. It's basically frameworks where you can set up mobile application yourself. It's based on pre-designed, pre-packaged templates, forms, workflows. So you don't need to be tech savvy. You don't need any senior consultant to set up and configure any out-of-the-box solution. So we saw cases where your business definitely doesn't need a mobile application, and the ways how to replace mobile application. So now we'll turn our attention when your business actually needs one. Having a good product or service is great. However, adding an application with strong, unique service selling proposition help your brand differentiate from competitors. It also gives opportunity to attract new customers or even move into a completely new market segments. I'll give a few examples from our past experience. We've created a mobile solution for iCover. This is a UK coffee bean roaster machines manufacturer. They offer truly unique high-end quality devices. And the company needed a mobile app to complement their products and also enhance user experience. So we developed a mobile app for two of their devices. They, by means of these apps, they've managed to attract new clients, new audience, and stand out from competitors. And they also created an added value service to their customers. For instance, the users could download new coffee recipes. They could create their own coffee recipes and share them with friends, and then they can also upload those coffee recipes to their machines and make a customized process of preparing a cup of coffee every day. When you have your own business or your web solution has a high percentage of mobile users, it's always a good idea to develop a mobile application. I have another example. We worked with a Danish-based software agency called SailPoint. They specialize in solutions for airlines. And since most of the company's users were booking flights from their mobile devices, the company demanded a mobile application. So our mobile experts, the challenge of creating and integrating a large number of new features, such as integrating a payment system and storing payment details within application, and also developing 20 other new modules to ensure smooth mobile experience and optimization of the whole booking process for the mobile use. Just also about this application, the results of our work was that for some in some segments, this application became #1 in the Asian markets. We created one of the first customers we created this app for was Philippine Airlines, and this app has been further white labeled for other airlines across the globe, mainly Asia. Creating your own application is a good idea if you want to increase engagement and a number of repeat customers. For example, 58% of users prefer purchasing through mobile apps, and mobile apps have almost 3 times higher conversion and engagement rates than mobile optimized websites. Another example I can give, we developed in our past experience, we had a mobile commerce application called Rampa. The client sold fasteners and hand tools, and mobile application offered a unique and very interactive way to customize and combine those tools. It's like very interactive process, very close to gamification, and people had fun doing it. And this increased customers' immersion and engagement in the whole purchasing process. The apps also help optimize your business processes. We had a client in US called Full Plate. It's a startup. They had a web service for food delivery. They required to optimize their business processes because of COVID-19, which emerged a couple of years ago. And thanks to the mobile app, they managed to adapt their business processes to this new challenge and realities. They automated the ordering process of takeaway foods. The users could do table reservation, do payment, and delivery. For instance, you decided that you need a mobile application. So what's next? I'm gonna take you through a few major steps, how to prepare the ground for a successful development of a mobile application. First, even before choosing a supplier for developing a mobile application, you need to prepare some kind of a document or a detailed description of your app. And it's perfectly fine if it doesn't look like a finished software requirement documentation. This is a very challenging job to transform the vision of the product into the app's features and requirements. And this involves a number of specialists. And if you aren't sure that you're capable of writing a product specification document, then you should trust this task with one of the software vendors. Business analysts can conduct some workshops with you, ask the right questions, and turn concepts into well-developed technical requirements with detailed specification of the product's main features. At the same time, the experts analyze potential risks and scope of work. Then we move on to, once you have product vision in place, you are moving on to selecting a vendor. So business is globalized nowadays, and you may choose a UK supplier or supplier from Europe or any other part of the world. Location of the development company matters a lot, and you need to close because you need close cohesion between your teams. The decision and alignment of ideas are to be taken across multiple peers in your organization and then communicated back to the vendor. In all these situations, time difference could be of an issue, especially when only a few working hours overlap. Make sure that the vendor has relevant experience in your business domain. This is crucial, particularly in certain fields like healthcare or fintech, or when it requires specific expertise like machine learning, artificial intelligence, or Internet of Things. You should look through their portfolio, find out about their past projects, what business objectives they solved, check their reviews, and how they exploited their expertise to propel the project of the client. Then you should carry out due diligence of the team you'll be working with. Talk to the project manager and see if you have synergy with them. And this will be your main point of contact. At the same time, talk to the lead developers, see if they are proactive enough, and see if they have adequate English. Pre-sale process is very important. So pay attention to what questions the team asks. This will ensure that the vendor is eager to understand what you are looking to build. The supplier must show that they are trying to immerse themselves in the whole business idea of the product, understand the target audience, as well as the goals you want to achieve. Make sure you avoid the teams that roll out the quote without any calls, only a couple of days after RFQ was sent out. Proper quote and proposal sometimes may take weeks to accomplish, depending, of course, on the size of the project, with a number of calls and multiple emails to be exchanged. This is significant investment from the side of a potential vendor and client too, but definitely worth investing if you want to minimize your risks. And the price, of course, a mobile app development company won't give you 100% accurate quote for the complex project from the start, particularly because it can change over the course of the app development as the new features are rolled out. However, what you should get is definitely a preliminary estimate based on your requirements, an explanation of fees so you know what expenses you might additionally have, understanding how the vendor communicates pricing changes. You don't want any surprises with larger than expected bill at the end. What impacts this price? Of course, this is location of the development company. Companies in UK could be a bit more costly. European companies, like Central European companies, could be slightly cheaper. Asian companies could be even more cheaper. So senior staff, the teams with senior staff, predominantly senior staff and good English will be, of course, more costly. You should look at their quality assurance process and the quality control. And of course, the price is greatly influenced by their approach to implementation and the architecture they devised for the whole solution. We wouldn't recommend rushing into cheap deals. This may cost you even more in the long run, like adding new functionality after the product has been released and supporting maintenance. So after selecting the vendor, you should start developing the app. And in most cases, you start with minimum viable products or MVP. So how it works and why it's important. MVP is created to test on the market to check if your idea, your product has any potential to succeed. The basic version This is a basic version, very fundamental functionality that helps find early adopters and offers opportunity to revise the app UX and functionality by examining the user's behavior, what features they use, and what should be omitted. This approach of creating MVP helps save the client both budget and time, because as we discussed earlier, it is a basic version of the product with the most necessary features without gold plating. One of the goals MVP serves is to get investors on board. You can prove the app has potential, it works, and also has real users. The whole information could be very overwhelming, but with right guidance and professionals, you'll be able to succeed. There are a few tips that I would like to share myself that you can utilize to build a successful app. Pay great attention to discovery or early conception phase of the app development. This is a preliminary and essential stage of the whole process. Without research and common vision, the project is bound to be more expensive and long due to iterations and changes. This step helps ensuring that you know who your target buyers are and that your app will satisfy the customer's needs in the end. When building MVP, don't overload the MVP with features. This may result in delay of the delivery. Afterwards, you may have to rework the whole product modules that fail to provide values to your users. You may run out of the budget faster and not meet your target. And the new apps that are overburdened with features may confuse the users. They may ditch the app. So don't aim for the app with lots of features. Focus and aim to build the best quality MVP possible. As previously mentioned, building MVP shouldn't be a long and complex process. By releasing your final functional product more quickly, you will reduce the costs and the number of potential revisions, as well as help users test the app sooner in order to see what they need. Always evaluate the architecture of the solution. Invite independent consultants and discuss the technical solution that the team proposed you to build, especially when you start working with a new team, a new vendor you haven't worked before. We'd also recommend auditing the source code after the first couple of sprints. It's important in order to see that the quality of development team, as well as understand whether your goals and business values are taken into account. Functional testing and UI UX testing with real users are also essential in order to check the viability of your product. It could be your real customers, or you can find some user testing platform. There are a bunch of them on the market. Clients' first feedback is incredibly valuable. You can discuss it with your vendor and decide on further strategy for developing a mobile application. So today we analyzed your first steps towards developing a successful mobile app. Building a great product requires a lot of time and efforts, but with the right vision and team, you will be able to skyrocket your business. Thank you for joining us today, and I'd be happy to answer your questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And again, if anyone's any questions, please do shout them out. I have a few as ever. Thank you, anyone that was here and they were considering that might be put off now. But maybe that's a good thing, as your opening slide was. It's just to be as open and transparent and realistic about going in with an app. So we would find companies would come and would love the idea of an app, but maybe they're just not ready for it today. So it's to go in and be fully aware of the cost. So a couple of questions we had. Do you need an Apple and Android app, or how do you debate that? Do you need to build two apps, totally different systems, or and is it double cost?
Okay, good question. Thank you. So you should start with analyzing your target audience. So in ideal world, if you have budget, of course, you should develop an app for iOS and Android. But sometimes your budget is limited, so it's better to focus on a single platform. You should analyze your target audience. And if you see that in this specific country, in this specific group of people, people tend to use Android, then you should focus on Android. Then there are different approaches to developing mobile applications. So the apps could be native, and the apps could be cross-platform. Native means that we use native SDKs, like software development kits, like software environments to create mobile applications supplied by either Apple or Google. And these two software development kits are different, and they use different programming languages, which means if you develop an app for iOS, you have to rewrite it from scratch for Android, so the cost doubles. However, there is a cross-platform approach. There are a bunch of frameworks, technologies that allow you to create a common code for both platforms. Wow. And you can save. It's not twice as cheap as developing to the native apps, because eventually you will have to optimize the logic, like business logic of the app is going to be the same. Mm-hmm. But you will have to some extent, you will have to adapt UI of the application for different screen sizes, Android and iOS. So it's going to be like 30-40% cheaper, of course, depending on the app, to develop app natively. But of course, you should be aware that even though developing native apps is more costly, it's more desirable for certain kinds of projects that use. It's recommended to develop native applications when your app works with different hardware or uses incumbent hardware of mobile phone, like GPS, for instance, like geolocation, or like watch or wherever. So it's recommended to develop the solution using a native approach.
Excellent. So no, thank you for that. So we've got the questions are rolling in now as well. So of course the classic, we get to these all, but the most important one as ever is what prices are mobile apps. And I know that's like how long is a piece of string, but maybe, so from what we understand, then there's the option where you build an app for Apple and for Android. That's the premium. Then you'd have the cross-platform system that's going to work on both, and it's going to be a wee bit cheaper. And then you've got an out-of-the-box solution where you're going to use something that's already half built, and you're going to be limited by the features, but it's a good way to start. So I'm just even the most basic apps, if companies were to set a price, not this, but just in general for those three, so it'd be amazing just to give an idea.
Okay. So I would say you should start developing a very basic app, like even the cross-platform app would require at least 7-10 sterling, something like that. Mm-hmm. And this would include an app itself, and then probably it will have some integration with your web services, maybe your CRM, but this is going to be very basic, and I doubt it's going to have any payment integration, so possibility to do any payments directly from the app. So this is the most like simple
start point.
Start point, yeah.
No, that's very helpful. So basically, a company, because you mentioned as well, we need to have marketing as well to get users to the app. So
exactly.
really,
so
for a very, like, again, to be realistic with companies, so they know where they are and they're planning out their digital strategy. So they should think of that they need around 10,000 for an app that's basic, and then they need marketing expense to get users to it. So that's going to help people making that decision if it's the right way for them now, because obviously it's a good goal to reach out to. So no, thank you for that. I know that was a tough one. So another question is then, with new features becoming available in releases of iOS, will development be ongoing? Should these apps be optimized for primarily for iPhone and or iPad? So so I guess it's that, and please correct us, Jeff, if I'm wrong. I think Jeff's asking, with all the updates that come out from Apple and I guess Android, but Apple, we know every September is a big one, but there's quite a few through the years. Do the apps need to be updated every small update, and then what about the big one every September?
Yeah, it's in short, yes, that's correct, but not necessarily. I'd say you shouldn't probably. It's very rare that you need to update an app during regular updates, security updates of iOS, and these updates would not be too essential for your application. However, during major updates and release of new iOS versions every September or October, wherever, there is a chance that some features of your application might start working incorrectly, or might stop working at all, or your app might start crashing in some instances. Or let's say the app releases new version of iPhone with new kinds of screen, and your previous application will not be optimized for these new screens. So and also Apple might release some fancy features of iOS in which you can integrate your application, like new kinds of widgets wherever, and you want your app also to utilize that possibility. So yes, your app should be updated as well. And speaking of iPad, so there are two ways: cheap way and more expensive way. So cheap way, you can basically stretch the UI of your mobile application all the way across the iPad screen. Sometimes the UI is more or less universal, so it would look okayish, but generally it's not a very good idea. You should create, if you have a large portion of users who use iPads, then you should probably consider developing customized UI specifically for iPads. And roughly, you have to add about 30% extra on top of the costs of developing iOS applications. So the business logic is going to be the same. You don't need to do anything with that. It's just the UI.
Brilliant, excellent, cool. And Jeff's just followed up saying spot on. He's thinking of the synergy between iPhone, iPad, and Mac OS with the new M2 mobile processors. So yeah, so it's going to be an interesting time ahead for anyone with an app or considering it. So great. Another question then was, after creating an app, what kind of support should an agency or developer provide to the client? So is there hosting? Again, like I'm sure everyone here is used to working with websites, so we used to pay monthly hosting, and maybe even getting a monthly analytics reports and things from agencies. So is there a follow-on, or is it handed over and it's come back in a year's time or 2 years if there's something else?
Yeah, I already answered. So some apps are small, so you don't need the regular support, but and it will be inefficient to pay every month for support services. But once in a while, once Apple rolls out new iOS versions, you have to adapt your app to those iOS versions. But different companies have different approaches to support and maintenance. What our company does is that depending on the project, depending on the app and the size, we charge a fixed cost every month that includes a certain amount of man hours included in this cost, and in return, we guarantee that we will react to tickets of the clients in a specific period of time, like a couple of hours if it's a critical issue, or let's say 1 business day if it's a medium issue, like 2-3 days if it's like just a minor issue that pops up. And this includes both maintenance of mobile application, mobile code, but also web services, because most of the apps, they communicate with the server. You need like admin panel, you need a backend system that communicates with the app, and this also requires support and maintenance.
Gotcha. Well, excellent. And just one last question. I think we've grilled you loads today already, so thank you for that. But so if an app isn't updated, so someone builds a basic app and it's left and it's been used a little bit, but it's not been updated for a number of years, will it drop out of the App Store automatically, or does it disappear, or does it? Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm not can't. I don't know the Apple policy about. I can't remember the Apple policy about that, but some of our clients they have apps that haven't been updated for a year. So maybe I don't know. At least the app can last 1 year, but you also have to take into account that. If you don't do support maintenance of the app, there's like a notion of technical debt, which means that the longer you postpone the updates of the app code, the more expensially, exponentially, it's going to be more expensive for you to update it later on.